Hi, I'm Sheila from Quilts, Patterns, and Crafts. In this video, we're going to finish up our pillow covers, which is a 16-inch pillow cover, the dots in a grid design on the front with an envelope closure on the back. We're going to learn how to put that together, and you can apply this skill to making any pillow covers. If you're interested in learning how to make the front of this pillow cover, I have 2 more videos showing you how to make the blocks and then how to make the cover itself that you can refer to. I'll link them at the end of this video and down below in the description. I also have timestamps available if you need to go through the steps here for this video. And I think that's it. Let's get to it. Here's another opportunity to be super creative. If you wanted to put this on a piece of batting and quilt it first, then lay your holy square, we'll say, on top, you'll see all that quilting behind this, which I think is really a neat idea, which I might do for another pillow. I like to put a few pins in there just to kind of keep me on track, keep my pillow cover from getting twisted. I'm just gonna put maybe 5 in here. Sorry for my head being in the frame. All right, so I'm gonna put 5 pins in here, try to keep myself from getting skewed. Actually, I'm gonna put a few more in there. Let's get all the centers here. So it'll be like 9 pins. Make sure it's nice and flat. All right. Okay, so I'm all pinned down. Everything's nice and flat. I'm going to take this to the machine and I'm going to sew a 1/4 inch away from all of my seam lines, just straight through, straight through, back the other way, and then I'll get the vertical, and then I'll do a stitch line around the outside that's 1/8 of an inch away from the edge. All right, let's go. Okay, I'm going to start in the middle. I'll take this pin out, and I'm just going to start stitching. If you wanted to put batting behind here at the same time, if you wanted to have more of a cushion on your pillow, you could do that as well. Take that one out. You may need an assist over those bulky intersections. This would also be a good place to use a walking foot if you have it. The reason I'm using this foot is because I like the 1/4 inch mark. Okay, and then I'm going to rotate this around and I'm going to get it going in the other direction. Thick right there. Let's slow it down. Low assist. Low assist. Okay. Gonna pull this off. Gonna go to this edge, this row. I'm gonna need a new bobbin thread soon. able to make it. Bobbin's getting low. Bobbin's getting low. Now we're going to do this side. Speed down. Later. So to show you what I mean by encasing those ends, I'm going to take these pins out here and flip this up and show you. See how it's, all those raw edges are now enclosed for the horizontal section. Now I'm going to go in and do the vertical section, and it will enclose all of these as well. So again, I'm going to start in the middle. Smooth this out in case there were any changes there. Something is weird that I don't understand, so I'm just going to pop that off. Position. You might be looking at this and thinking, you're so crooked. But it looks like magic when the whole thing is done. You can barely see it. All right. Take that off. Smooth this out. To the next section. This edge of the foot lined up with the seam. Rotate it around. I'm going to roll this up a little bit. more pair to do. Smooth it out, thread to the back. Rotate it around. I'm going to take this pin out over here, roll this up a little bit, middle up, reposition my foot. And the last part of this step is to stitch all the way around at about 1/8 of an inch from the edge. So I'm just going to start where I am. Tack that corner down. You want this to be 1/8 of an inch so that you won't see it on the finished pillow. To add our dots. So I'll see you at the other camera. All right, so we're all attached and all of our raw edges are enclosed so that you can leave it like this, or you can sew around the middle instead of on either side, and then you still, these intersections will still be enclosed at their raw edges. So next thing we want to do is add our dots, and this is going to be a very organic look, so don't worry about centering these exactly. That's not the look you're going for. In fact, you want all of them to be a little off center and in different locations. So I'm just going to start, make sure that you put the torn or cut edge down. I'm just going to kind of start laying these out. And all I'm looking to do right now is to have one of each color on each row and to have a different color than the outside within the circle. So that is my thought process while I'm working through this. All right, so now we've got all of our circles pinned in, and we're going to go to the machine, and we're just going to stitch around the outside, and I work my way from the outside to the inside to help with the pin management so that I don't stick myself too often. Yeah, I think that'd be fine. All right, so we're gonna, this is the arrangement we're gonna go with. So back to the sewing machine. So I'm just gonna start on the corner, and I'm gonna drop the needle, and I'm going to start with a little back tack because I don't want this to come out, and then I'm going to roll up my pillow form a little bit so that I don't stick myself with these pins as I rotate it. As I approach a pin, I'm going to pull it out. I'm holding it with my fingers, and I'm stitching through all the layers. Snip that out of the way. And if I feel like it's getting out of control, I'll lift up the presser foot and cut this off right here and finish up. And don't worry about being perfect. Again, this is a very organic looking pillow, and it's very textured, which is great for like this tactile instance where you just want to touch it. You know, want to squeeze it and feel all the bumps, and it's just a great pillow. I really like this pattern. Whoop! Extra string in there. Remember, we're back tacking. We'll pull out our needle. Our pin. Sure that you're staying on top of the dot. You may want to sew closer, like a 1/4 inch away instead of right on the edge like I'm doing. It's all up to you. You've got the turned edge, so you have a lot of freedom there. I'm just going to give this a little snip. And back tack. It is Memorial Day weekend, and I live near a beach, so there are a lot of tourists here this weekend with a lot of trucks. So that's what you're hearing in the background driving by my house. Okay. I don't want this to get in a knot on the front of my stitching. Ooh, needs a little assist. There we go. So you get the gist. That's how you sew the dots on. I'm going to work through all of these, and then I'll meet you back at the iron after I get them all sewn on. Alright, so that's what the back looks like. And here's what the front looks like. Now we need to square this up. So I'm going to use my big ruler, and I'm going to cut each of these lines straight. And I'm going to square everything up. So here's my first side. Looks pretty square. I'm going to cut. I'm going to make sure that I stay on my mat since I'm using my smaller mat. Alright. I'm going to rotate it, and now I'm going to use this line as my straight edge. I've established my straight edge. Lining up my ruler with that straight edge. Line up the side. Giving it its second cut. just fits with 1 inch on either end. It's a 16-inch pillow form, so it just fits on this 18-inch mat. Just make sure that you stop on the mat, start and stop on the mat. And last one. All right. Okay. So we're just going to do an envelope closure on this pillow form. And I already have my pieces cut. This is a fat quarter that I cut with the selvage. So this is a 10-inch piece. And then this is the remainder of my fat quarter. So if you have a 21-inch by 18-inch fat quarter, this is 10 inches and this is 11 inches. So you have an overlap. And I just did a 1/2-inch hem instead of folding it over because it's kind of wasteful in the fabric. I did a 1/2-inch hem, so it's turned a 1/2 inch and then turned another 1/2 inch with stitching. And I like the stitching on the outside for this since it's such a tactile pillow form. I like it on the outside. So I want to put that down first on my pillow form. So let's see. This one, I have my diagonal going this way. And when I flip it over, it's up and down. All right, so I want to put my outside, my right sides facing each other on my pillow form, like so. And then I want to put my piece that has the selvage on top of that, so it winds up inside my pillow form. I'm going to line up that edge, smooth it out. I'm going to put a pin right in the center. And then I'm going to turn it over. All right. And then I'm going to pin around the outside edge. And then this is another one where you might want to go to a walking foot. But I'm just going to use the foot that's on the sewing machine. Just show that it can be done that way. All right. So you want to make sure that you're catching these fabrics where it's going to overlap. Make sure that you catch that. So I'm just going to move this pin over to the other side where it's overlapped. This is protected inside because we're going to be sewing this way. So this is the only part that you need to really worry about. All right, so we are pinned all the way around. And now we're going to go to the sewing machine and we're going to sew 1/4 inch from the edge. Edge. this for technically you are done. You're done aside from turning it inside out. But I do want to get this little excess fabric off because I'm a little anal retentive. And I'm also going to finish the edges with a zigzag stitch because I did it to the other pillow, and I will be selling these as a set, and so I want them to match. Take that pin out, rotate this around, cut away any little bit of excess there, rotate it around. Put away my excess. I can get a little more off of that. All right, then I want to clip my corners about 1/8 of an inch from this intersection, like this. And like that. So I got all of my corners done. Now I'm going to put this on one more time. I'm going to change my feet on my machine, and I'm going to finish these edges up, and then we'll turn it out together. So the stitch I'm going to use on this machine is number, where are you? 16. And it tells you which foot you need, which is this J foot. And I'm just going to sew all the way around the outside. I do want to make my stitch length longer. I'm maxing out my stitch length, and we're just going to get started. So that is our pillowcase. You can see how those edges turned out. And now we just need to turn it right side out. So I'm just going to grab that. I'm going to reach in here, and I'm going to grab that. And then I'm just going to use my finger or a chopstick. I usually use a chopstick, but I think my finger is going to be all right for right now, to push my little corners out. I saw a neat trick to pull your corners out with thread, but I was too lazy to do that. If you want a top stitch around the edge of this, you can do that. I did not want to do that. All right, so you have it turned out, and now what you want to do is you just want to, I learned this on Jordan Fabrics, you want to shift your pillow so that, we'll start here. This edge is kind of pulled out so that you can see the whole seam. So you can see the seam. And then you want to give that a pressing. You could just finger press it, but I'm going to give it a little bit of heat. And yes, I'm only getting it in the middle. Do the same thing over here. The reason I pull it so far out is I try not to put a crease on the back side. I just want to get right here, this seam right here. I just want to get open. I want to coax it open. We're going to get the side here. It doesn't matter which side the seam allowance is on. Because it's going to be the edge. So don't worry about that. I'm just using the tip of my iron to get that seam open, trying not to put any unwanted creases in there. Then, when I'm ready to actually sew it flat, those seams are going to be all the way out. Now I'm going to steam and press. Get this side first. Steam and press. Steam and press. Just going to turn it. Make sure it's turned under. This is the top and the bottom. So it's going to behave a little differently than the sides. But there we go. There we go. Excess strings off of there. So a lot of steam, a lot of pressing. Now you're telling it, this is how I want you to be. To be a well-behaved pillow form. Okay. So much texture in the back. I just wanted a little bit of the seam to be out here. All right. And that is that, my friends. Now find the pillow form. The excess strings off of there. Boop, boop. All right, so let me find a pillow form. So I think this might be a 14-inch pillow form and not a 16-inch pillow form. Darn it. But we're gonna stuff it in there anyway. So stick it in the outside of the envelope. So it's gonna be a little baggy on here. And then you tuck it in the inside of the envelope. It's gonna be very baggy in here because this is a 14-inch. I'm just gonna center it. And there we go. There's our pillow. And there's our matching set. So I hope you liked this tutorial. I hope you'll try it. I hope you'll send me pictures of your pillows in using different fabrics. I love it so much. And it's so much texture. And I'm like sticking my finger in here. I know it's weird, but I do. So I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you'll send me pictures of your projects. And if you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below. If you liked this video, I'd appreciate a like and a subscribe. And thank you so much for the followers I have right now. And I hope that we have many more in the future. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you'd want to know when I have other crafts in the future, please click the little bell icon below. I'll have timestamps down in the description on these videos so that you can jump around if you need to, and I will see you soon. Yeah.